In quiet neighborhoods, power goes wrong.
They didn't knock. They stormed in. 5 people in matching polos, laminated badges swinging like they meant something, marching straight across the gravel path that led to the old oak courthouse building. My courthouse. Stop right there, a woman shouted, her voice sharp enough to cut glass. You are trespassing on HOA property. I stopped mid-step, coffee still warm in my hand, and turned slowly. That's when I saw her. Mid-50s. Tight bun. Clipboard clutched like a weapon. The kind of confidence that only comes from never being challenged. Karen. Behind her, 2 men and another woman fanned out like backup dancers in a bad authority cosplay. One of them was already filming. Ma'am, I said calmly, you might want to lower your voice. She laughed. Actually laughed. Oh, don't you ma'am me. I've already called the police. You've been warned before. That was news to me. This building had stood here for over 80 years. Stone steps worn smooth by decades of footsteps. Oak doors thick enough to survive riots. A courthouse that served the county long before the HOA even existed. But 3 years ago, a developer bought the surrounding land, slapped up beige townhomes, and formed an HOA that thought everything within eyesight belonged to them. Including this. They were wrong. But no one had ever told them. Karen stepped closer, pointing her pen at my chest. This area is restricted. HOA members only. You're not on the roster. I looked past her, at the sign she'd posted that morning. Private HOA property, no trespassing. Fresh ink. Crooked nails. Bold lie. I work here, I said. She scoffed. Oh really? Doing what? Loitering? The man filming snorted. I took a slow sip of coffee. Unlocking my office. That made her smile widen. Good. You can explain that to the police. She put the phone on speaker like she wanted an audience. Yes, officer. We have an unauthorized individual refusing to leave HOA property. Possible squatter. Male. Early 40s. Very hostile. Hostile. I hadn't raised my voice once. The dispatcher asked for the address. Karen proudly rattled it off. She gave my courthouse's address. I closed my eyes for half a second. I could have ended it there. One sentence. One title. But I didn't. Because sometimes the best lessons need witnesses. We stood there for 12 minutes. Residents gathered. Phones came out. Whispers spread. Who's that guy? Did he break in? HOA finally cracking down? Karen soaked it in like sunlight. She lived for moments like this. 2 patrol cars rolled in. Lights flashing. Gravel crunching. Karen straightened instantly. I recognized one of the officers the moment he stepped out. Officer Ramirez. We'd had coffee together last week. He froze when he saw me. Blink. Pause. Confusion. Then recognition hit him like a brick. Judge? Karen spun around. Judge? No, he's lying. Officer Ramirez held up a hand. Ma'am, please step back. Her face twitched. I nodded politely. Morning, Ramirez. He cleared his throat, suddenly very aware of the crowd. Good morning, Your Honor. Dead silence. You could hear a phone hit the ground. Karen's mouth opened. Closed. Opened again. What did he just call you? I turned to her for the first time fully. I'm Judge Daniel Mercer, I said evenly. And you're standing on county land. She laughed again. A little shrill this time. That's not possible. This is HOA property. We have documents. She waved the clipboard like it was holy scripture. I nodded. I'd love to see them. She thrust the papers at the officer. He skimmed. His expression changed. Then he looked at me. Then back at her. Ma'am, these documents don't show ownership. They show maintenance agreements. Her face drained of color. I gestured toward the building behind me. This courthouse was excluded from the development deal. It belongs to the county. Has since 1942. I paused. And since you falsely posted signage, restricted access, and called police under false pretenses. I let the sentence hang. Karen swallowed hard. Officer Ramirez turned to her. Ma'am, filing a false report is a serious offense. Her voice shook. I didn't know. I tilted my head slightly. That's the problem. I wasn't just a judge. I was the presiding judge over municipal and civil oversight. HOAs included. And under state law? A judge can petition for dissolution if an HOA repeatedly abuses authority. Especially with evidence. Especially with witnesses. Especially with police reports. Karen backed up a step. Wait, dissolve? You can't. I smiled for the first time. We'll see. Karen didn't sit down. She couldn't. The folding chair in the HOA clubhouse looked suddenly flimsy, like it might collapse under the weight of everything she'd done wrong. Around her, the rest of the board whispered in tight, frantic circles. Papers shuffled. Phones buzzed. Someone kept clearing their throat like that might reset reality. It wouldn't. Across the table, I sat quietly, hands folded, robe draped neatly over the back of the chair beside me. Not wearing it. I never needed to. This is just a misunderstanding, Karen said for the fourth time. We were acting in good faith. Good faith. I looked around the room. Posted no trespassing signs on land they didn't own. Threatening letters sent to county employees. Police reports filed without verification. Good faith doesn't leave a paper trail like that. Let's begin, I said calmly. The room went still. The HOA secretary hit the record button. Red light on. Everything from here on out was permanent. State your names for the record, I said. They did. Karen laughed. Her voice cracked. Who authorized the signage? Karen raised her hand halfway. I did. As president. I nodded. Based on what authority? She hesitated. Our bylaws. Do not supersede county ownership, I finished. Next question. Her jaw tightened. Who approved contacting law enforcement for trespass enforcement? This time, 2 hands went up. Karen's. And the man who'd been filming. I wrote something down. Slowly. Deliberately. That sound pen on paper did something to people. I wasn't debating them. I was documenting. And that's when panic truly set in. 20 minutes late. Sweating through his collar. He sat down, flipped open his folder, and froze. Because he recognized me. Not personally. Professionally. Your Honor, he said carefully, I wasn't informed you were involved. That's becoming a theme, I replied. He asked for copies. Of everything. Emails. Notices. Police reports. As he flipped through them, his face went pale. Then gray. Then something close to regret. Karen, he said quietly, this is bad. She snapped at him. You said we were fine. He leaned closer. You said the land was HOA owned. She opened her mouth. Nothing came out. We assumed, she muttered. The word echoed. Assumed. I looked up. Assumptions don't create jurisdiction, I said. They create liability. I slid a printed statute across the table. Highlighted. Underlined. An HOA that repeatedly exceeds its authority, interferes with public access, or misuses law enforcement may be subject to judicial review and dissolution. I tapped the page once. You've done all three. One board member stood up. We didn't know, he said quickly. This was her idea. Another chimed in. She told us legal approved it. Karen's head snapped toward them. You backed me. They avoided her eyes. Loyalty evaporates fast when consequences show up. I resign, someone said. Chair scraping. Door opening. Footsteps gone. Just like that. So do I. Another chair. Another exit. Karen was breathing fast now. This is turning into a witch hunt, she snapped. You can't just dissolve us because of one mistake. I folded my hands. You're right. She exhaled sharply, hopeful. This won't be because of one mistake. I opened my folder. Letters. Recordings. Photographs. All complaints filed against this HOA in the last 18 months, I said. Karen stared. How did you? Public record, I replied. You'd be surprised what people document when they're threatened. Illegal fines. Selective enforcement. Harassment notices. False police calls. Always signed by the same name. Karen's. He didn't look at her when he spoke. I can't defend this. The sentence landed like a hammer. She turned to me, eyes wide. You're abusing your position. I raised an eyebrow. Explain. You're involved personally. I nodded once. And yet I disclosed that, recused myself from judgment, and requested independent review. Her mouth fell open. I follow procedure, I continued. You ignored it. I slid one final document forward. A formal petition. Judicial review initiated. Temporary injunction placed. HOA authorities suspended pending outcome. Karen stared at the header. Her name printed neatly beneath respondent. No one spoke. The recording light blinked. This was history now. Officer Ramirez knocked once and entered. He handed me a copy. False report confirmed, he said quietly. Charges pending. Karen's knees buckled. She grabbed the table. This session is adjourned, I said, standing. I paused. For the record, the courthouse remains open. Public access restored. And your signage will be removed today. I looked directly at Karen. By you. Karen didn't remove the signs quietly. She couldn't. By noon, half the neighborhood had gathered near the courthouse lawn, watching as she yanked the no trespassing boards from the ground with shaking hands. Someone filmed. Someone laughed. Someone clapped. Authority looks very small when it's forced to undo itself in public. At 2:17 p.m., every homeowner received the same message. Subject: temporary suspension of HOA authority. It wasn't from Karen. It was from the county. Clear language. Legal citations. No emotion. HOA powers frozen. Fines halted. Enforcement prohibited. Pending judicial review. Panic spread faster than gossip ever had. My phone didn't stop ringing. Not angry calls. Curious ones. Do we still have to pay the fine from last year? Was she allowed to tow my car? Can they really do that? Answer after answer was the same. No. No. And absolutely not. Once one person learns the truth, they teach 10 more. By evening, neighbors were comparing letters, screenshots, recordings. Patterns formed. Stories aligned. Karen's name kept surfacing. Karen tried to call another board meeting. No one showed. The clubhouse lights stayed off. Her badge didn't open the door anymore. Temporary suspension meant immediate lockout. She called her attorney in a panic. "What do I do?" He didn't hesitate. "Stop talking. Stop emailing. Stop acting like you're in charge." She hung up on him. That was her mistake. Instead of stepping back, Karen sent a message to residents anyway. Accusations. Blame. Warnings about government overreach. She CC'd everyone. Including me. Including the county. Including the court clerk. The clerk forwarded it to the review panel. Stamped. Logged. Added to the case file. Self-incrimination is most effective when it's written. 3 judges. None of them me. Independent. Uninterested in drama. Very interested in patterns. They didn't ask if the HOA abused power. They asked how long it had been happening. Why was law enforcement contacted without verification? Karen tried to explain. She talked herself in circles. Finally, one judge leaned forward. "So you believed you could have someone arrested, based on assumption?" Silence. That answer alone could dissolve an HOA. Residents were invited to submit statements. They came in waves. Single parents. Elderly couples. Young renters. Stories of intimidation. Of threats. Of fear. HOAs forget something critical. They only exist because people tolerate them. Local news picked it up. Headline: HOA president accused of misusing police resources. Karen stopped answering her phone. The panel issued a notice. 7 days. That's all it took. 7 days before final determination. 7 days before dissolution was on the table. No board. No dues. No authority. Assets frozen. Accounts audited. Every decision re-examined. Every fine questioned. Karen had built her identity on control. And now it was being audited line by line. An older man showed up at my office door. Hat in hand. "I thought you should know," he said quietly, "she tried this before." Another community. Same tactics. I thanked him. Added the affidavit to the file. Patterns don't like witnesses. She came to the courthouse alone. No clipboard. No badge. Just a woman who had lost the crowd. "I want to talk," she said. I stood. "This isn't my decision anymore." Her eyes filled. "You did this." I shook my head. "You documented it yourself." Power borrowed from fear always collapses. It just takes time. And paperwork. Lights burned late in the courthouse. Not from tension. From clarity. The case was already written. The ruling was inevitable. The ruling didn't come with drama. No gavel slam. No raised voices. Just a calm, devastating document released at 9:02 a.m. HOA authority terminated. The words were clean. Precise. Merciless. The review panel found that the association had exceeded statutory authority, repeatedly misused law enforcement, restricted public access, unlawfully operated under false assumptions of ownership, failed to correct misconduct after notice. Dissolution approved. Effective immediately. Bank accounts frozen. Contracts voided. Board titles erased. Karen wasn't president anymore. She wasn't anything. Residents received one final message. Not from Karen. From the county. Clear instructions. Dues suspended permanently, HOA rules unenforceable, any ongoing fines void, residents encouraged to report prior abuse. No signature. Just law. The neighborhood felt different. Quieter. Not because people were afraid. Because no one was waiting to be corrected. She learned from social media. Most not. She closed her accounts by noon. At 12:43 p.m., the HOA's bank called the county. They'd received instructions to freeze funds. Karen had tried to withdraw cash that morning. Too late. Every transaction reviewed. Legal fees. Unauthorized spending. Administrative reimbursements. Her name appeared often. The false report charge wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. She paid the fine. Mandatory training. Permanent note on record. No sirens. Just consequences. 3 days later, Karen stood outside the courthouse again. No crowd this time. Just her. She didn't shout. Didn't accuse. She just looked tired. I didn't think it would go this far, she said. I nodded. Most people don't. Did you plan this? I answered honestly. No. She looked confused. You did. No, I repeated. I documented. There's a difference. People formed committees. Voluntary ones. No fines. No threats. Just coordination. Funny how cooperation works better without fear. Open. Public. Unchanged. As it always was. Authority without understanding is just noise. Law doesn't care who shouts. It only cares who's right. That evening, I locked my office. Stepped onto the stone steps. The same ones Karen once claimed didn't belong to me. Sunset painted the sky. No signs. No badges. No fake power. Just truth standing where it always had. They tried to have me arrested for trespassing. They lost their HOA for it. Because real authority doesn't announce itself. It waits.